Men and women are more divided than ever.
When I look at Muslim Twitter, when I look at Muslim TikTok, when I look at Fitnagram, everybody seems to be at each other's throats, right? It's like men versus women. You don't see men and women.
There are a lot of gentlemen out there. There are a lot of Muslim podcast bros out there. However, no one is really quite hitting the spot of bringing men and women together and addressing these topics in a way that are more unbiased and empathetic towards the ladies.
Does that mean you're a simp, or?
We ain't simping around this side, my brother. I can easily come on here and I can say lots of nasty things to ruffle as many feathers as I like, mate. I can tell you to cook and clean. I can tell you about all the wives I'm gonna get and where I'm gonna get them. And we can play this little game and we can tell you, hey, sister, you got some hairs coming out your hijab, yeah? Fix up, yeah? You guys are playing too much to feminism.
Back everything up the Quran and Sunnah. Too many people today, they go off their own whims and desires. They'll say that if a man cheats, it's not the same as if a woman cheats, even in Islam. A'udhu billah. They'll say that if your daughter has a boyfriend, that's a red flag. If your son has a girlfriend, boys are gonna be boys. And I think that this is what has caused us to be at the position that we're at today. Men as leaders with authority, women having to obey us and submit to us. I will say it as it is. We failed. We let go of the covenant that we have with Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is going to be our first episode of Halal Bros, not your average podcast bros, joined here with faiyadfit, and I'm here joined with a very esteemed guest, but unfortunately he's not going to be the guest. Maybe fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Alhamdulillah, I'm joined here with Dan the Man, who's going to be my co-host for this podcast. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Wa alaikum assalam, my brother Dan the Man. We're co-hosting today, my brother. How are you?
There you go, alhamdulillah. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, they've seen you somewhere.
Have they seen me somewhere, brother?
Maybe, guess we'll never know, bro.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Drop a comment below, mate, and subscribe if you've seen me somewhere, mate.
Isn't it also their duty to listen to us as men? To be obedient to us. So do the damn dishes, man. Cook my dinner, man. What's this long thing? Do you know what I mean?
Alhamdulillah.
That's how we do it, right?
I want to jump into this big question that a lot of viewers are probably wondering. Why is there another Podcast Bros channel? We already got way too many channels right now. Why are you guys starting a new one?
Mate, you know what? I had a little think about this before we cracked on with this, mate. And I think we just don't have enough male voices out there trying to guide women on how to wear hijab, how to hold themselves properly, you know. And there's just not enough out there, mate. And I felt like, you know what? There's two gentlemen out there that need to come together and we need to actually teach ladies how to be. Do you know what I mean? And I think you saw me. I think I know where you saw me, mate. And I think you thought to yourself, well, this is the guy who's going to finally reach the ladies and make a connection with them so that he can actually educate them on what it means to wear hijab and niqab and all the good things they should be doing and shouldn't be doing and cooking dinner and cleaning dishes and all these types of things, mate. So, or maybe not. Maybe perhaps we had a little think, mate. And perhaps we thought to ourselves, listen, there are a lot of gentlemen out there. There are a lot of Muslim podcast bros out there. However, no one is really quite hitting the spot of bringing men and women together and addressing these topics in a way that are more unbiased and empathetic towards the ladies. Perhaps most of the gentlemen out there that are approaching these topics are more so just telling ladies what they should be doing without actually considering all the different factors that are going into what these dynamics are today between men and women. And as we know, men and women today, as I rightfully learnt the hard way, shall we say, is that men and women are more divided than ever. And I realized, to be very honest with you, I was actually contributing to that in a way that I did not mean to contribute.
Really?
Perhaps.
What makes you say that?
Well, I've got a bit of a sense of humor. And it turns out people on the internet, little did you know, do not have a sense of humor, mate, especially with regards to Muslim podcast bros. I learned that the very hard way, and I realized that I actually added fuel onto the flames of division between men and women. I felt a little bit guilty. I was a little bit tongue-in-cheek in my actions at times, and you know, I thought it would have been a good laugh. And I left there feeling, once I saw the reaction at first, like, haha, this is my plan is coming together, all right? But shortly afterwards, it began to dawn on me that I've actually created more division within the ummah. And that did not feel good. That felt quite bad, in fact.
When you say division within the ummah, right? What do you mean by that? Because today, when I look at Muslim Twitter, when I look at Muslim TikTok, when I look at Fitnagram, everybody seems to be at each other's throats, right? It's like men versus women. You don't see men and women. And many times, it's a common misconception as Muslims that because we have different roles and responsibilities, we're supposed to be clashing. We're supposed to be different. Is that true, or could that not be further from the truth?
Well, listen, look, when you divide, you can conquer. And I think as an ummah, we're too divided and we need to be stuck together so that we can pull through these things. We talk about the family unit, right? Just telling all the ladies what they should be doing isn't going to fix the family unit. Just going and telling the women, just complaining about the men isn't going to fix the family unit. Men as well, we have to kind of take a bit more accountability because I think we are the leaders, right? We play this big talk, we give all this talk, right, about how we're the leaders and you have to listen to us and all this type of stuff. Well, the first thing about being a leader is that if things go wrong, it means it's your head on the shop first. So I think that as men, we need to be taking more accountability and we need to be doing more than sisters in that regard. There's more accountability, more responsibility upon us to solve this problem. So yeah, I almost lost track of your question, my friend. Well,
you know, man, forget all that, bro.
Chat to me.
The main thing that I want to know and at least establish with the viewers today, because unfortunately, I've been making YouTube videos for a hot minute now. I haven't been making personal YouTube videos until just 3-4 months ago.
Right.
And it might even be June 1st, you dig, when you guys see this episode, inshallah. But with that being said, I want to know from you, you're not a public figure yet. You haven't really been on YouTube or online, let alone the Dawah scene for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first actual experience or encounter with it.
Right.
There's many thoughts that are perhaps going through your head, right? What is your main mindset coming into this podcast? What is your main niyyah? Why are you doing this with me? And then I'll tell you why I'm doing it. But I want to know from you, what is your objective? What is your goal? Because I don't want to be one to kind of take the wheel and say, here is our intention with this podcast and speak on behalf of both of us. I want to know from you, bro.
My intention with this podcast is to address some of the issues that are facing men and women today in our ummah, but address them with empathy, especially empathy for the ladies. Because the boys are just ruffling feathers at this point. They're not, I think we're creating more problems in a lot of ways. And
so does that mean you're a simp, or?
We ain't simping around this side, my brother. I can easily come on here and I can say lots of nasty things to ruffle as many feathers as I like, mate. I can tell you to cook and clean. I can tell you about all the wives I'm going to get and where I'm going to get them. And we can play this little game and we can tell you, hey, sister, you got some hairs coming out your hijab, yeah? Fix up, yeah? And you guys are, playing too much to feminism, playing too much.
But why are you not doing
liberalism.
that? Are you saying that stuff doesn't reach the hearts and minds of the women?
I don't know. Do you think it reaches the hearts and minds of the women to communicate in that way?
Well, if the woman is very rational and very logical,
sure,
then obviously we would be in a fairy tale. But this is not reality. Unfortunately, but fortunately for us, women are very emotional. And at times, this doesn't mean it's a weakness. I know society might make it look like it's a weakness. But because they are emotional, we have to speak to them emotionally. We have to hit home. We have to understand that they process information differently than us. Have you noticed a difference between that when you talk to men versus women?
Most definitely, my friend. Well, I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of mentoring for young people, especially young people who want to get into software or find new jobs and things like that, help people in their careers. I've had a little bit of success in that particular realm in myself. And I believe in, once you climb the ladder, you shouldn't be pulling the ladder up behind you. You should be throwing more ladders down and trying to help as many people as you can along the way. And I learned the hard way that there's a way to communicate with men and there's a way to communicate with women. And with men, I'm usually very rough, very direct, telling them to pull their socks up. And I realized quite quickly that women don't communicate quite in the same way. As a matter of fact, actually, Faiyad, it's funny that we're talking about communication now because actually I've followed your content for a while and you seem to me, at least, as far as I've seen as far as Muslim podcasters and content creators go, it seems as though you actually deliver a lot of very positive content, content that addresses a lot of these social topics between men and women, but you actually seem to be making progress in communicating with women. They don't seem to have that same kind of backlash to you that they have with others. And I actually think that's because of your good communication skills and the way that you approach certain topics. So why don't you tell me a bit more about how are you able to teach, how are you able to achieve that, my friend? And what can I learn from you, bro?
My man had to put me on the spot, bro, a couple minutes into the pod. Let me give you the quickest rundown that I can, inshallah. I started my channel to be a self-improvement channel. Obviously, I'm also doing a lot of coaching with Muslim men, making them higher value, making them strong Muslim men, right? We work on fitness, masculinity, deen, marriage, finances, everything. So when I started the channel, I started making content about typical self-improvement stuff. 5 ways to achieve this, 8 ways to do this, 9 ways to do that, 6 red flags in Muslim women. That got a lot of heat. And I realized that I was becoming no different than the average podcast bros, the ones that are making content, like you said, how you talk to men, but they were talking to women that way. And while it can be inflammatory, while it can be controversial, while it can be trending and viral, there's no progress being made. The division is continuing. So I started making more social commentary, and I back everything up with Quran and Sunnah. I didn't know I have this effect until I went to my analytics one day on YouTube. And I saw that 60% of my audience is females.
Wow.
Subhanallah. 40%, well, it's at 39% men, 1% unspecified. Well, I don't want to go into that on this podcast, bro. But 39% men. My entire demographic used to be 97% men. And I realized, subhanAllah, like, what is this? And I'm making a lot of videos, not necessarily feeling I'm soft on the ladies at all. By no means. I feel like I'm delivering what needs to be delivered, but I back everything up with Quran and Sunnah. And I don't speak to women in a way where it's picking at their faults, but I feel like I genuinely, to my core, want to help them. I empathize with them. See, when you have a wife, when you have a daughter, when you have a mother, it's very difficult to look at women as a nail and you're a hammer, here to kind of hammer down the law. It's very easy to look at women as human beings, spiritual beings too. Allah has given them a soul, just like us. On the day of judgment, all of our deeds will be ours, all of theirs will be theirs. We can't intercede for one another. So we're all equal in the eyes of Allah. This doesn't mean we're the same, and this doesn't mean we have equal rights and responsibilities. Heck no. But it does mean that we are equal in value.
100%.
So when I started having that niyyah and really unlearning a lot of this programming that I've been taught from a lot of typical average Muslim podcast bros, I realized, you know what? Without me even thinking about it mentally, it kind of just projects. And when I talk on the videos, women pick up on that. And I feel that if you keep your niyyah pure, it's going to resonate with them. If it's not, just look at the comments, bro. They're going to fire you. And I want to end this by noting a very harsh reality of today's ummah, right? We have a lot of compassionate imams, as Daniel Hakikuchu says. Inshallah, you guys will see the video with Daniel in a few episodes. Daniel said that we live in a world today where there's a lack of strong Muslim voices. And he said that we're here where we are today because of the compassionate imam. So he said that, you know what, I have to kind of be the hard to kind of neutralize the lukewarm or the soft. And while that may be true for certain cases, because Daniel definitely knows his niche, when it comes to women and when it comes to telling them what to do, how to feel, you have to understand, number one, the Prophet ﷺ, who came to give us the revelation that Allah has given him, was a man. ﷺ, best of creation. He spoke to men and he spoke to women. He told women how to dress. He told women what to do and how to behave. He told men that too. No one had a problem with that. And one of the biggest things that I do on my channel is I back everything up with Quran and Sunnah. Too many people today, they go off their own whims and desires. They'll say that if a man cheats, it's not the same as if a woman cheats, even in Islam. A'udhu billah. They'll say that if your daughter has a boyfriend, that's a red flag. If your son has a girlfriend, boys are going to be boys. And I think that this is what has caused us to be at the position that we're at today. Men as leaders with authority, women having to obey us and submit to us, I will say it as it is, we failed. We let go of the covenant that we have with Allah. And because of that, look at what's happening today, man. Women cannot respect that. I feel like to a woman's core, regardless of how much she is in secular society, trying to level up in career and this, maybe she's even, let's say she's a non-Muslim, bro. Maybe she's just running through dunya, right? And if she's doing that, deep in her core, I genuinely believe that there's some cognitive dissonance. She doesn't feel congruent. She doesn't feel one with her mind, body, and spirit, and she wants to. And when you see her as that, everything will blossom. But if you see her as her faults, and you're like, you know what, there's no tawbah for her, never marry her, she's a red flag, divorcees, this, that, and the other, where are we going to end up, bro?
End up in the gutter, mate.
Unfortunately, bro. And I realized sooner than later, alhamdulillah, by the blessings of Allah, that if I want to make an impact, unfortunately, we can't be trying the same methods that have been working, or should I say not working until today. Talking to men and women as if they're just faults and flaws. And I know a lot of these extreme Muslims, bro. They're so extreme, they're so fanatical, they're so radical that they will go outside and just pick war every single day, bro. Keyboard warriors. Have you experienced anything like that? People that they do less, but they talk more. They don't actually contribute to society, but they just twiddle their thumbs and comment down.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. For a long time, I thought that TikTok was a platform for children to make dance videos. Little did I know, there's quite the Muslim community on TikTok.
Really?
Yes, and it's quite toxic. Unfortunately, most comment sections, especially TikTok, is very toxic. It's quite disappointing. Especially, I spoke to some of my non-Muslim friends, and I was like, yeah, getting cooked on TikTok today, mate. And they're like, by who? I'm like, by the Muslims. And they're like, Muslims talk like that. They behave like that. And in the same breath, I also felt a little bit ashamed myself because I realized that I was part of the problem at one point. So, I have to take some accountability in that regard as well. And I'm also guilty. I did have one question for you though. So we talked a little bit about Muslim podcast bros and where they're going wrong. In the same breath that I say that, there's also Muslim podcast sisters,
Really?
And I believe so. I believe so. I believe they're also out there making content as well. And I don't believe that it's necessarily, I think that it's just become Bloods and Crips. It's become Bloods and Crips between men and women today, What's your thoughts on the Muslim podcast sisters and what you've seen? Is it as bad as the men? Are they creating content as bad as the men? Or are they making more, what I've seen is more reactionary, shorter clips towards the Muslim podcast bros? And maybe some of those guys deserve it. Maybe some of them don't. That's up to the community to decide. What's your thoughts on that?
Bro, unfortunately, there's nuances on both sides.
Yeah.
Right? Just like we talked about the fellas, a lot of them are out here making beneficial content, right? But most of them are on an extreme. Some of them are on one extreme where, cook my dinner, clean my dishes.
God forbid.
I'm playing. Most of them are on this extreme where it's like, you know what? Fix your hair. You know what? Don't dress like this. Sister, you're incorrect hijab. Sister, you're going to go to hell dressing like this. Sister, i.e. the sister in question being a reaver, probably doesn't even know what hijab is.
Yeah.
Wallah, bro, probably doesn't even know. Sister, a'udhu billah, astaghfirullah, cover this, cover that, you're going to go to hell. Acting as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran overnight. When they forget the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, who said that if Islam was revealed quickly, as in, i.e. in her own words, if halal and haram were the first things introduced to us or revealed, then she fears that nobody would have been Muslim. Radiallahu anha. Subhanallah. Why? Because it's important to know that Islam has a Sharia. We have jurisprudence. We have rules and regulations. Otherwise, we'd be like the next religion. But unfortunately, we have to realize that the Iman, the Aqidah, has to come first. The 6 pillars of Iman, the 5 pillars of Islam, if you accept that, everyone's on their own journey. Does this mean now we don't enforce? Of course not. But we don't police. We don't play God. We don't act like we, a'udhu billah, are in the position of the ultimate judgment. No, of course, we have societal things to keep us in check. But too many men are on one extreme, where you got the extreme that I just mentioned, or the compassionate side. Oh, sister, Islam's in here. You can wear whatever you want to wear. You can go outside and spread your wings and fly, and you'll be okay, And if, don't allow your husband to get a second wife, that's cheating. That's adultery. A'udhu billah.
A'udhu billah.
They will equate a lot of these things of modernity with halal, and they will talk about things that are traditional Islam in orthodoxy as haram. Now, I'm not just going to come with the brothers, obviously. I'm going to come with the sisters a little bit too now. You got two extremes as well. You got the sisters that, unfortunately, this is a small pool of sisters, but there's so much on the Quran and Sunnah. There's so much on the haqq, Allahumma barik, that they lose a little bit of their rahmah. They lose a little bit of the humanness to even look at a revered sister and understand that perhaps they themselves weren't there overnight. But you got the other extreme of Muslim sisters too now, which is majority, right? Islam's in here. Don't judge me. Only Allah can judge me. you know, I can have as many boyfriends as I want on my journey to Allah, and I'll be forgiven because Allah is the most merciful, and they're just doing this. And if you judge me, you're a misogynist, you're a problem, you're a toxic bro. And if I want to do that, it's my life. Focus on you. Your beard doesn't even connect. You are, you know, you are under 6 foot tall. I don't speak to short men, you know. You don't even have a beard, perhaps, right? Your aura is showing when their aura is in fact not showing. Maybe they're just wearing a nice t-shirt with some of their gains showing. Allahumma barik, but they don't like that. Astaghfirullah, bro. But
Some brothers in red polos looking swole, good, mashallah.
Allahumma barik. I don't see any, but you know, they don't like that. You know, they really don't like that, bro. Anytime you say anything, they can't even hear a letter of constructive criticism. And these women, unfortunately, have drunk the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid telling them that Islam is here and there is no practicing. That you don't have to pray and you're still in the fold, even if you reject prayer completely, altogether. That Allah will understand your situation, as if we haven't been given the instruction manual, bro.
Is the content we make geared towards these ladies as well, or are they lost causes?
I don't think anybody's a lost cause. SubhanAllah. I think that knowing the things that I've been through in my life, the that I've been through, I'm tired, man. And it's hard. It's very hard, but I've been through a lot, and I'm sure you have too. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that having been through the things that I've been through, Allah didn't need to save me. Allah didn't need to give me hidayah, but for some reason Allah did. And the most important thing I want to give everybody as a take-home message today is, regardless of what you've been through, it doesn't matter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can guide anybody out of anything. And we have to believe that. And I'm not just saying this as a, you know, we don't have to be judgmental, you know, let the sisters have some. No. I genuinely believe this. I think a woman can completely run through dunya as much as she wants to. A man can completely be on the streets, in the gutters, doing X, Y, Z. And if they're sincere and they want to make change, Allah will make it easy. SubhanAllah.
100%. Faiyadfit, Mr. Faiyadfit, have you ever written a comment on a YouTube video or a TikTok video complaining that a lady's hijab is not proper, or that it's not, or some hairs are coming out? Is that something you've ever done? So speaking of which, Faiyadfit, where do people find good Muslim men, good Muslim women nowadays? Do they even exist, my brother?
Absolutely, bro. They gotta hit up a Muslim matchmaker.
Muslim matchmaker? What's that, my bro?
In a time of fitna and haram dating apps, this is an alternative platform that was started by one of our closest brothers. It's amazing, bro. You meet traditional men and traditional women. I'm talking men that want to be breadwinners and women that want to be caretakers, nurturers, and hold down the fort.
That actually exists? There's men like that nowadays still? And women like that?
Matter of fact, bro, last time I spoke to the brother, there were at least 5 times as many sisters on the app as brothers. And about 85% of the sisters are wearing a baya or niqab.
MashaAllah. I didn't think an app like this could exist. What is it called again, my bro?
A Muslim matchmaker. Matter of fact, teams are segregated. Everything is anonymous. There's no contact without the wali approving first. 100% halal and anonymous.
That's a Muslim matchmaker.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, we got a custom link for them to join down below. Links in the description box. And without further ado, let's jump right back into the podcast. No, bro, I don't have time for stuff like this. You know, when you're a content creator, when you're doing other things important in life, I just don't consume. I'm not putting anybody down for consuming, obviously, because this is our whole audience, right? They're consuming us.
Please consume.
Yeah, please consume. Consume to the point where you subscribe, inshallah, and like this video. It's going to help the algorithm. But we are creators and you are consumers of good content. And that's what we want to give you guys. We don't want to give nonsense for you guys to watch. So the main thing is, if you're a consumer, consume benefit, infotainment. And if there's negative things to say, then what should they do? What do you think?
If there's negative things to say, what should they do? Do you know what? Just for the gents out there, yeah, I don't think I've met any guy, yeah, any grown man with like a life that actually goes on comment sections and just starts spewing hate, especially like trying to criticize sisters. To me, that's really weird. When I started seeing this, because after my own experiences, I started to investigate this a little bit more, because I was completely like absent-minded to what's going on in the social media ecosystem, right? And I've seen men comment on sisters' videos exactly what I've asked you, right? Sister, your hijab this, your hijab that, and blah, blah. Now, I'm not necessarily saying they're wrong, right? But that's just weird, bro. Like, how you got anything better to do with the time than to comment on sisters like video about hijab and things like even commenting on guys' videos. I mean, it takes quite a lot to trigger me personally. It's usually from people who are genuinely from the tragedies in the world, the really bad stuff. But as I saw that there's just so many ruffled feathers at the moment online. It's quite shocking. But yeah, with the gents, I not much of an excuse there. You're not a lady, so if you have got negative things to say, mate, there's more constructive ways and constructive things you can do than to write negative comments online. You can even write a constructive comment online, I guess. You could do that if you have time for that. But yeah, spewing hate to me, no make no sense.
Things me I deal with, bro. But the real thing here is, what is the solution now? Why have we started this podcast? Why do we refuse to just be consumers?
Listen, what is the solution? To be totally honest with you, mate, I don't know. Yeah, right? God knows what that real solution is. However, I know that the reason we've started this podcast is to give it a good crack. And perhaps the order is a bit too tall and perhaps we won't be able to deliver and perhaps we'll fall flat on our faces. But I know at the end of the day, I'd like to think that we gave it a good crack, that we had a try, and that our intention was in the right place. And I really just don't see anyone else quite doing this in the sense that there are two traditional Muslim men who believe in very traditional principles. We believe in polygyny. We believe in, men going out and providing and ladies perhaps being more the homemakers, or if they are going to working within the confines of what's halal, and, what should their priorities be and things like that. I haven't seen two gents who have these kind of traditional values deliver this message in a more empathetic way. And rather than just trying to force the message down their throats, but rather understand why are we at where we're at today. If you listen to the sisters, they have a lot of complaints about men. And a lot of those complaints are very valid. We can't say they're not valid. So we have to, if we are going to approach this, and which we are approaching this, and we're going to give it a shot. I think the key thing for me here is empathy. And, myself, I've been raised by 3 women. Okay, I've been raised by my mother, my auntie, my grandmother, who I have great relationships with. I'd call all 3 of them my mother, right? And I'd like to think that I've attained some level of emotional intelligence along the way, and a care and a love for women. I'd like to see that through and try to deliver something positive rather than negative. I need to try and keep my sense of humor in check a little bit because I like a good wind up, as you may know. I like a good wind up. I like a good bit of banter, but. Banter.
Oh, really?
But turns out men are a bit better at taking harsher jokes than ladies. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's true, my brother.
And you can ask a man how old he is and he's going to tell the truth.
Yeah, by me if you must, right? But I think that we can sit here and we can just each other, off camera, cuss each other out. I can tell you have a Canadian accent. We can make comments on that. And you can tell me about my British accent. And
we're still gonna go pray together and eat dinner like nothing happened.
Oh, mate, I'll probably love you more after that, mate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But with the sisters, I feel like you need a gentler approach. You know what I mean? I think any guy who's been in a relationship as well, they try to bring the guy then banter back home, and they try to like cook their wife a little bit, troll their wife a little bit. They'll find out very quickly that their wife is like, what? Why did you say that? That hurt my feelings. Like if you turn to me now and tell brother, if you tell me that hurt your feelings regarding a comment around your Canadian accent, I mean, I'm not a prick. I'm not going to be like, oh, mate, I'm sorry, mate. You know what I mean? But I'd be a bit more surprised,
Do you want me to tell you why I want to start this podcast, bro?
You tell me why you want to start this podcast, my brother.
I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of going on Muslim YouTube and all I see is whataboutism. You know what that is?
What is whataboutism?
Bro, man? You will literally spit fire. You will say the most real-ish Oh, a man should do this. A man, don't marry a sister. Oh, brother, what about this? What about if the husband is bedridden and he can't provide, and and the woman has this to her head, and because she has to do that and this and that,
And a bolt of lightning just comes and strikes your door.
What if she wore hijab perfectly, but a man broke into the house and removed her hijab and saw her anyway?
Latif.
It's like, what if, bro? I'm tired of this whataboutism, man. This exception is not the norm. This is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction percent of all cases in reality. What we are dealing with is the norm. We are dealing with what's commonplace. And I believe there's a saying, I don't want to claim that this is a hadith, so I'm just going to say this is a saying because I'm not informed in it as I should be, but it says that every prohibition in Islam has its exception. Every prohibition.
Of course.
Now, I'm not going to say this as with a lot of weight, because obviously things like shit, come on, bro, no excuse. But things like pork, even pork, Allah SWT mentions in the Quran, if it's out of necessity, you're permitted to eat pork, but do not go in excess. Well, you don't have anything to drink. Even though alcohol is going to dehydrate the crap out of you, bro, but...
Well, mate, even you mentioned shirk, mate. Correct me if I'm wrong, mate. Maybe I might have to cut this bit out. But if I'm not mistaken, if your life is under threat, and you're in a situation of life and death, and let's just say, hey, listen, mate, if you don't tell me that, if you don't make some shirk right now, and we'll say some shirky stuff and I'll blow your brains out, I'm pretty sure in that scenario, you got a bit of a pass, God bless every man who's strong enough.
I'm going to go down with that bullet, bro.
Yeah, you're going down with the bullet?
Inshallah, I'm going down with the bullet.
I would love to tell you I'd go down with the bullet too, but a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about what they do when the gun's put against their head, and then they find out the hard way how much of a man they are. I'd like to think I'm man enough to handle that and go down the hard way. Die shaheed, baby.
Bismillah, but and may Allah grant us the shuhada. I mean, but at the very least, the more dunya, superficial nuances, bro. The prohibitions in terms of this, that, and the other. Do not, for a woman, perhaps, right? It's impermissible for her to work in a mixed environment. What if it's out of necessity? What if she or her kids are going to pass away? They're starving. Now, there's an exception, right? So we get it. Everything has an exception. No one's denying this. But to now act like everything is the exception, no. And because of this, everyone needs to be 50-50. We need to split the bill half the time. And if an intruder breaks in, we need to take shifts and take turns. I don't believe in that, bro. We're traditional. Men have roles, women have roles. Everyone needs to stay in line. Everyone needs to stay in check, right? But above all else, this is what I talk to. So I'm tired of this whataboutism, bro. I am tired of everybody having something to say about something when there's no business, bro. Like, they're like, oh, what if there's a three-legged this and that? It's like, bro, that doesn't even happen in reality. Why are we making up scenarios now? And they will be so rebellious and disagreeable just to prove a point, bro. Have you ever noticed this with a lot of, I'm not going to come at a certain gender right now, but we know who we're talking about. There's a tendency to always have a rebel to authority. Where it's like, you don't, it's not that you don't want to be on the right path or do the right thing, but you don't want somebody telling you that. Sometimes we do that as kids, when we're really rebellious. We don't take directions. And matter of fact, if I want to do something and somebody told me to do it, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be told what to do, right? It's a very childish, immature, arrogant attitude to have towards life. So I'm tired of this, bro. I'm so tired of going on Muslim Twitter, Muslim TikTok, going on YouTube, and just seeing men and women at each other's throats. I'm tired of seeing men, first of all, not knowing how to communicate with women. And I'm tired of weak men. I'm tired of soft men. Men that can't get their stuff together, can't get their act together, can't become a higher value man, unfortunately. And I'm tired of women that are just using this hive mind, herd mentality, this group think that if all the other sisters are doing something, it's a trend, then I'm going to do it too. If every kuffar woman is slapping their husband on TikTok with their purse, I'm going to do it too. And I'm going to hop on these trends too. I'm tired of this, bro.
Mr. faiyadfit, are we being idealistic, mate? I mean, in perfect world land, we'd like to think we can solve this grand problem, but are we being idealistic?
Let's find out, bro. Let's find out. If Allah is by your side, there's nothing that you can't achieve, inshallah. I genuinely believe that. And I think that whether we are going to be idealistic or not, the clock is ticking, bro, as Allah says in Surah Al-Asr. We will not succeed unless we maximize what we do with our given limited time. I could be gone tomorrow, you could be gone tomorrow, we could be gone today, bro. we have this Nia. Guys, you guys don't know this. We're in Texas right now, Mubarak. We're here trying to make some pods, put in some work for you guys.
Yeehaw.
This is the first episode. Yeehaw. We could go outside today and our lives will be over, bro. We don't know when our life is going to be over, but I don't want to be over, or I don't want my life to be over without saying that I didn't try, like you said. Let's take a crack at it. Let's figure it out and let's see if we can do something. Let's see if we can take this pool or this demographic of disenfranchised Muslim men and women, men that are either too soft or too hard, women that are just listening to XYZ and misguided, right? There's a trend of a follower becoming a follower, or what we should say as the followers leading other followers.
And let's not forget about the young gentlemen who are kind of falling towards that red pill direction as well, and going towards this kind of direction of hating women or thinking that they're incompetent, or kind of they're also part of the problem. You know, we talked quite a bit actually about all the ladies that maybe are getting their feathers ruffled, but there's also a trend of young men who are becoming quite anti-women. And not only is that kind of, I don't know, it kind of.
If you got a blow up doll, bro, or a bot because you don't want to get a woman and you want to be black-pilled, please just leave this channel right now. Don't even, or stay, inshallah, if you're sincere and wanting to open your ideas into a different perspective, right?
Yeah, but ultimately, I want to make content as well for the young men out there to, you know, chill them the hell out as well as the ladies.
Absolutely. So we're not only going to tackle womanism, but we're going to tackle our pill as well. We're going to tackle why men cheat, why women cheat, masculinity, femininity, you know, divorce, single moms, mahr. These are some of the topics that inshallah you guys can look forward to. Also, inshallah, weekly uploads after today for the foreseeable future. May Allah give us the ability to uphold our word for as long as we can. And I want to conclude at least my part before I let you, finish off with your 2 cents. Where do you see us in a year from now?
Very tempted to make jokes here, but I'm going to try to hold myself.
4 wives in Morocco.
No, I didn't say that, mate. It's not me. Don't TikTok me, bro. Okay. Inshallah, a year from now, you know what? Listen, look, maybe our ideas are a bit idealistic. Maybe we're not going to solve this problem. But if we can, create even a little bit of a better dynamic between men and women, or even create a trend of men and women approaching this problem in a more productive way, change a few people's minds, soften a few hearts, I'd be quite happy with that, to be totally honest.
Alhamdulillah. Even if it's just one person, bro.
Even if it's just one person, mate.
Yeah. Or even if it's just us, bro.
Just us, man.
Because sometimes being in a position of leadership and authority, it makes you kind of be forced and have no choice but to level up and to take yourself seriously, because you don't want to be a munafiq, bro. You don't want to be a hypocrite. You don't want to be out here saying one thing and doing something else, right? So I want to conclude this by telling you one thing, bro, that I have no doubt, inshallah, that we will succeed by the permission of Allah in doing our part. Whether that part means that we completely bring the ummah together once again and divide or not divide. We don't want to divide. Undivide the already divided and segregated mass of males and females. I don't know if we'll survive and if we can achieve that, bro. I really don't know. I don't know if this is going to be something that, one day we're old and gray and we got one foot in the grave and we have a talk with our sons to continue this legacy, bro. And in 80, 60, 50 years, we don't know, bro. We don't know. What I do know is every single podcast is not really a podcast without an LED sign.
Oh, mate, how'd you know a podcast if we haven't got an LED sign, mate?
Exactly.
You wouldn't know what this is. You wouldn't know what we're doing, mate, without the LED sign. And, we've aptly named Halal Bros. Why we could pick that name, mate? I guess we're brothers. And I guess we're trying to keep it halal. So...
Innit, bruv?
That makes us the Halal Bros, bruv.
That's it. And we realized, actually, women love action, not words, bro. I know they love words, too, sometimes, if it's done right. But they love action. And men, too. We need action. How could we start a real podcast without an LED sign?
Mate, they just wouldn't know what they're watching without that, mate.
They wouldn't know what's what.
They wouldn't know what's what, mate. They wouldn't know what they're watching, what they're looking at right now without a little sign like this telling you what this is, mate.
They would have no idea, bro.
Not at all.
But alhamdulillah, what do you think of the sign?
like it. You know, it's kind of cool having an LED sign. Anybody that has LED in their house, you know, I think they're like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's kind of cool. You know, at first I was a bit like, bro, really? LED sign? But now I'm like, okay, I'm down with this, you know? Halal, bros.
Alhamdulillah. Bro, I don't even know if this is LED now, technically. Isn't it neon light? These are neon light signs.
Oh, mate, I wouldn't know the difference, mate.
Oh, snap, bro.
I wouldn't know the difference.
What do we do with this now? What if it's not the right one?
We got to throw it out the window, man. We got to buy a new one.
Oh, man. This already took like a month to fulfill, bro. God damn, I don't know what we're going to do with this. But all jokes aside, one thing that I do want to touch on today, at least, is something that they can expect going forward.
Mm-hmm.
What is your promise? What is your... Obviously, deliverables are subject to Allah's permission.
Okay.
But what can you at least tell them that you will do your best, your due diligence to be well and above and beyond, over-delivering, inshallah, from now on? Because they don't know you, bro. And they perhaps, some of them might not even know me. Mm-hmm. They might be like, you know, they might not have a public figure or an influencer page. They might not have a history. I can't see their videos. I can't see their LinkedIn. Maybe they're a charlatan, bro. So what do? What would you say?
In terms of promise and delivery, look, there's no red pill on the side. There's no feminism on the side that we're going to try and keep it straight to the Quran and Sunnah. We're going to try and go by the book. We're going to try and keep it traditional. And I can't promise I won't make any jokes or if I won't ruffle a few feathers that way. I'm going to try my best not to.
Yeah, guys, don't cancel him. It's his first day.
Don't TikTok me, bro. And I think the main thing for me is balance. I'm going to try to be balanced in my approach. I think if I wanted to go viral right now, if I wanted to get popular and make this podcast blow up, you either have to do one of two things. You either need to ruffle girls' feathers and say things that are very inflammatory so they make TikTok videos of you trolling you and go down the whole Andrew Tate road, and people will start to know your face. People will start to know who you are, and you just go viral that way, and people will tune into your podcast just to see what you're going to say next. But that's just for clout. That's just for views. That's not productive. The other way is to go in completely the opposite direction, which is just basically say only the things that the ladies want to hear, so you become their poster boy, some sweet boy. And that's also another form of...
That's proper Batiman energy, bro.
Proper chichi boy energy. You know, that we're not going to try to do that. This may be less entertaining as a result, but we're going to try and keep the entertainment so that we can get our message through to you through an entertaining manner in a way that's easy to digest. But I think the main thing is going to be balance. Try to be a little bit humorous with it at times where we can. And not try to do things just for the clicks, just for the views, you know? I think that's my promise. What about you, mate? What's your promise? What are you going to try to stick to throughout this?
Everything you said, bro, and just keeping it real. That's it.
Real, baby.
Because there's going to be times where what we say may not be liked, and they might not be perceived or validated or affirmed by the masses. And it's okay, bro. If we're doing everything based on Quran and Sunnah and people disagree with us, who cares? As one of the famous contemporary scholars of Islam said, you cannot please Allah and the people at the same time. So give up. You know, obviously there's a way to do it, right, without ruffling up feathers unnecessarily, but it doesn't mean that we have to be always looking at the people and the masses and the audience as the arbitrator of right and wrong, as the deciding factor of if we're speaking the haqq or not, because the haqq is already out there. The haqq is already established. Allah has already given it to us. We don't even deserve it, bro. So the least we could do is honor it and forget about the people, inshallah.
So speaking of which, faiyadfit, where do people find good Muslim men, good Muslim women nowadays? Do they even exist, my brother?
Absolutely, bro. They gotta hit up a Muslim matchmaker.
Muslim matchmaker? What's that, my bro?
In a time of fitna and haram dating apps, this is an alternative platform that was started by one of our closest brothers. It's amazing, bro. You meet traditional men and traditional women. I'm talking men that want to be breadwinners and women that want to be caretakers, nurturers, and hold down the fort, bro.
That actually exists? There's men like that nowadays still? And women like that?
Matter of fact, bro, last time I spoke to the brother, there were at least 5 times as many sisters on the app as brothers. And about 85% of the sisters are wearing a baya or niqab.
MashaAllah. I didn't think an app like this could exist. What is it called again, my bro?
A Muslim matchmaker. Matter of fact, teams are segregated, everything is anonymous. There's no contact without the wali approving first. 100% halal and anonymous.
That's a Muslim matchmaker.
Absolutely, and as a matter of fact, we got our custom link for them to join down below. Links in the description box. And without further ado, let's jump right back into the podcast.
Inshallah. God bless you, my brother. God bless all the brothers and sisters out there.
Amen.
And may Allah guide you. May Allah guide us. May Allah protect us. And sending good love and positive vibes and good vibes. I think that's the message. I'd love to be a bit more inflammatory. It'd be a lot more fun, but I'm trying to try to behave myself.
If we get 5,000 likes on this first video, I know that's a reach, bro. But if we can get 5,000 likes on this first video, Danish is gonna say some super inflammatory stuff and show you a side of him that you have not known. At the end of this video, actually not at the end of the video, maybe at the end of the season.
We're gonna crank the British banter up to 100, mate, and we're just gonna cook everyone. We're gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. We're gonna
just a little bit.
Okay, no, just not to 100. Then.
Also, guys, just to give you guys a little bit more intimate, personal details about Dan the man. My man really does not like many things, but one of the things he just absolutely cannot stand is listening to other people eating food.
Allahu Akbar.
ASMR, mukbang, he hates this stuff.
Who watches that?
If we can get, listen, let's set a good goal for the first year, right? Alhamdulillah, I've been on YouTube for about 3 months properly. I'm at 20K. My goal is 100K this year. I know it's not possible. We'll see what happens, bro, by the permission of Allah, inshallah. I just want to keep influencing as many people as I can positively towards Allah. So I think with this channel, having a fresh start, what do you think the goal is? 100K, 200K for the first year, 50K? Do you want to be reasonable?
I'll be very honest with you, mate. I'm all brand new to this social media stuff. I'm just here to.
So they say it takes about 2 to 3 years for the average person to get to 10K. So we'll set the first year to 10K. I think that's fair.
I think we can do more.
You think we could do more?
I don't know.
If we can do 25K subs by the end of this year, we're gonna strap Dan into a seat we're gonna handcuff him to the chair.
Get some live mukbangs, yeah?
We're gonna get a 1-hour mukbang ASMR watch party. And just because we said that, I gotta torture myself too now. So maybe in a few days you'll figure out what ruffles my feathers, and then inshallah we'll do that soon, bro.
Who are we gonna get to eat in front of me? Which it has to be a Muslim influencer.
I have a couple ideas, bro.
Yeah, who? We're gonna get what, Mohammed Hijab to
he's from the UK, British boy for
sure.
sure.
Oh, mate.
I could think of one.
Who?
But I'm not gonna say it on camera.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I think I know who you're talking about.
Right. It's gonna be insane, bro.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're gonna specifically send this man a bag of dough, fat cheddar, bro, and we're gonna be like, bro, please, we need you to just eat. We're gonna record you, give you this mullah, bismillah, and you're gonna watch that, inshallah. 25K, boys, inshallah. And with this being said, I want to thank you guys for supporting us through this long journey that has only been less than an hour by now, alhamdulillah. But inshallah, you got some value from this. Please stay tuned for all the podcasts that are about to drop. Inshallah, we have true sincerity in our hearts, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best to genuinely unite the men and women today that are disenfranchised. Everyone has daddy issues. Everyone has mommy issues. Some people just want to be like a little boy. But it doesn't matter, bro. At the end of the day, we got to bring them together, and we got to understand not only the effect of what's been happening in society, but the cause and where we're trying to head to. So may Allah keep us sincere. May Allah allow all the men and women to benefit from this, inshallah. I know there's someone watching this and say, what do you mean men and women? What about... Inshallah, the men and women can benefit from this.
Inshallah.
Do you have anything else to say, my brother?
I think you wrapped it up quite nicely, my brother.
Pause. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.